To be honest, I have everything that I need to be happy. Like, truly. I have an amazing work from anywhere job that allows me to work from Costa Rica, Mexico, or Thailand if I wanted. I have a beautiful partner that supports me in all of my adventures, wants to travel the world with me, and with whom I can't imagine life without. I have friends and family that I love dearly. I have a healthy body and no known diseases. I own the cutest little house in a ski resort where I feel safe and I get to recharge my batteries whenever we're not traveling. So, what's wrong with me? Why do I never feel like I have enough? I still lay in bed, sleepless with anxiety, comparing myself to all of my friends that have nicer cars, bigger houses, better jobs, are already married, have a retirement plan, and I feel like a big loser. This needs to stop. I know that something has to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. So, I decided to go on a retreat that claims that they can reset your nervous system. I'm doing the 5-day retreat in Sayulita, Mexico, and it's supposed to be a science-based program for the nervous system regulation. My theory is that if I can regulate my nervous system and stop constantly feeling like I'm on survival mode, then I can appreciate more what I already have, feel more aligned, be reminded of my own power, connect with my inner peace, and ultimately carry less weight on my shoulders. To be super honest, I'm a bit hesitant. It's a lot of money and there's a lot of cons out there that are claiming all sorts of spiritual retreat gaga goo goo, and it just turns out to be a bunch of BS. So we'll see, but I'm desperate for a change and I'm willing to try this out. As usual, I'm bringing you guys with me, so let's go. You've arrived at your destination. Here we go! I'm on my way to Puerto Vallarta. Sayulita is about an hour away drive from Puerto Vallarta, which makes it really accessible. My first impressions when arriving at the villa was, oh my god, this is going to be epic. There was no time wasted as the retreat started on the arrival date. So I really tried to immerse myself fully into the retreat, but film as well so that I can share my experience with you guys afterwards and give you a first look into what the 5-day reset is like and an honest review. I gave myself a couple of days after the retreat to really integrate everything and then share my feedback. So here it is. I am finally back home after spending 1 month total in Sayulita. I have internalized everything and I can now share my whole experience at the Reposition Reset Retreat. This is not sponsored, no one asked me to do that. I just really want to share my experience and hopefully help someone else if you're looking into doing this retreat or doing any sort of nervous system regulation retreat. And by the end of the video, I will share if I think that it's worth it or not, what you can expect by going there, and also what I would recommend doing now that I've done this retreat if you can't really afford to do the retreat, but you know that you have a dysregulated nervous system. So in this video, I will be talking about the location of the retreat, the rooms, the marketing, the type of people that go there, the workshops that are in the schedule, the food, what I've learned that completely changed my mind, and finally, my final verdict of the whole entire experience. Let's start with the location. The location, there's actually two from my knowledge. There's a retreat in Portugal, I think, and there's one in Sayulita, Mexico. I decided to go to the one in Sayulita, Mexico, and it completely blew my mind. I'm gonna start right here. Yes, I'm setting expectations really high, but the location was absolutely amazing in my opinion. It is in Sayulita, but in the mountains in Sayulita, like definitely not in the city center or anything like that. It's really further back, far away from anything and everything. You cannot hear the buzz of the town of Sayulita at the retreat villa. Honestly, our room kind of gave a view on a majestic, like tropical jungle forest. The front of the villa was facing the ocean where the sun would set every single day. It was chef's kiss, in my opinion. I have to say 10 out of 10 for the location. It is absolutely perfect to do a reset. I personally wouldn't have done this if it was like in the center of a town or anything like that. I know that I love to be surrounded by nature and that really helps ground me. So it was perfect. And I ended up staying longer in Sayulita. I really wanted to internalize everything that I've learned during the retreat. So going back to work straight after just did not seem reasonable at all. So I ended up staying approximately a month in Sayulita. And if you want to learn more about my experience in Sayulita, I highly recommend you check my rating Sayulita video where I kind of go deep into the whole month that I've been there, and I'm rating the food, the cost of living, the security, all that stuff. So you can also check that out if you want more information about Sayulita. But when it comes to the villa and where it's located, honestly, I thought it was perfect, and I would give that a 10 out of 10. Let's talk about the rooms. Now, I don't know for you guys, but for me, this was a huge part of the retreat. Obviously, I'm a really picky sleeper. I'm not the kind of person that can sleep just anywhere and everywhere. And having a dysregulated nervous system also means that I'm like hyper vigilant. I'm kind of in fight or flight mode. So I need to feel safe. I need to feel comfortable. Now, don't get me wrong, the rooms were absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of footage of the other rooms. All I have is footage from my room, and it was really beautiful, but I was in a particular situation. I'm not financially in a place where I could afford a private room, so I did go with a shared room. I knew obviously that this was gonna be challenging. I do want to say that I had a wonderful roommate. They wouldn't mix like different sex together. So I had no idea who I was going to be paired with, but I knew it was gonna be a woman and it was totally fine. I didn't really sleep well. It's just really weird sharing a room and such a intimate experience with someone that you don't know at all. And this person also had a dysregulated nervous system. Obviously, everyone that's there pretty much. So she had night terrors. Sometimes she would wake me up in the middle of the night, like unwillingly, but like just screaming or like screaming to her children, like, no, don't stop, no, no, no. And like, it would just wake me up and things like that. So I did find it really difficult. And I did visit all of the other rooms. I just don't have a lot of footage of it. But there's no doors in most of the rooms to the toilet. So whenever you have to go to do your business, it's like a curtain. I feel that for the price of what people are paying, it would be appreciated to have a door so that you can close the door when you need to do your business. So yeah, the room are all different. They're stunning. The location, as I said, is beautiful. However, I definitely feel like there could be some improvement there. Even if it's a shared room, I feel like, as you can see, like the way that the room was set up, we could have had like one bed on one side, one bed on the other, so that there's a bit more privacy. If you're going there with a friend or someone that you're really comfortable with, it wouldn't be an issue. But for someone like me and my roommate who were just like, you know what, I can't really afford the private room, let me do the share thing, and kind of taking a guess on like who you're gonna be with, it would really be appreciated to still kind of have your own space. Like, I think there was 2 arms difference between our beds, so we could definitely hear each other breathe throughout the night and do all of the business.
The toilet. So for that reason, I'm gonna rate my room a 7 out of 10 because the view was beautiful and the size was gorgeous. I just felt like there could have been a bit more distance between the beds. But all of the private rooms, if you can afford them, 100% go for that. These rooms are like straight out of a fairy tale, and most of them were actually chef's kiss. It's just ours with mine with the share situation that was a little bit different. The marketing, I actually can't do this video without talking about the marketing because I'm a marketer. I've been a marketer for over 9 years now. Oh my God. But that really got to me. If you're seeing this video, it's probably because you've seen one of their ads on either Facebook or Instagram. You're probably researching information about if you should do this retreat or not. Is it a scam or not? Like, what am I getting myself into? So hopefully this video will bring a lot of value to you, but it really got to me. Like, I felt like their ads were like, pristine chef's kiss. So let me set the picture straight. 70% of what you see in the ads is absolutely true, but the thing that got me the most was the whole brain scan thing. And if you do the 5-day retreat, it is not included. And if you want to do the brain scan, it's an extra 500 USD and it's very limited space. So that's one thing. Second thing, it is not a 5-day retreat. Oh my God. That one, I felt harder. I was a bit like, this is not a cheap retreat. I want to get as much as I can from it. This is more like 3 days retreat because on the first day you arrive, they start around like 5 p.m. So on the first day, you only get from like 5 to 8 p.m., but they count that as a full day. And I'm gonna get to the whole like shuttle situation in a bit, but the first day is 5 to 8 p.m. And then the last day is 8 a.m. to 11, but they also count that as a full day. And then you have the other 3 days. So really it's like 3 days, 3 days and a half. And I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about that one. Because at the same time, I got everything that I wanted from this retreat, but I kind of wish I would have had more, or I don't know. This is really marketing. Like, obviously, they're not going to say it's a 3-day retreat with like half days, because that would not sell. So obviously, they're going to say it's 5 days. But the reality is like, it's not really 5 days. So another thing that really got me is that I needed a proper vacation, right? Like the marketing sells you on this is like a retreat to reset your nervous system and help you regulate your nervous system. So they take away all the stress. Like this is not meant to be stressful, right? Like if you're going to a stress retreat, it's because you're stressed. You don't want more stress. And one thing, honestly, that really did stress me out was the whole like everything's included, but like not really. So the shuttle situation also that kind of got to me. Now looking back, it's obviously because I was really stressed. Now if that would happen, I don't think I would have had such a big reaction. But they say that the shuttle is included, the transportation is included, like basically everything's included, right? It's an all-inclusive, but only if you land before 2. So to me, and just FYI, I've been a retreat leader before. Like I used to organize fitness, surf, and yoga retreats over the world. I'm sure these people understand that this is an international retreat. People are coming in from all across the world to this meeting location. 2 p.m. is really early for like everyone to be ready. Unless you can like land the day before, which now means you have to pay an extra hotel room, and like it just becomes this bigger thing. Honestly, for me coming from Montreal, it was really complicated. There was no way I was gonna make it before 2 p.m. So now I had to pay an extra transportation or find my own transportation. And I have a full-time job. I'm super busy. I did not have time to manage that. I really wanted to kind of like unscrew my brain and have people take care of me. If I'm going to this retreat, it's because I'm so stressed and I don't want to have to manage more things. So for me to have to manage that on top of like everything going on in my life at that point, that was stressful. I was really disappointed in that. I was disappointed that I had to pay extra to get a shuttle when it's supposed to be all inclusive, and that they couldn't have like, I'm gonna say 2 shuttles on the arrival date, like one at 2 p.m., one at 5 p.m. I don't know. I felt that was really weird. And it's the same for the departure. Like everyone has to take one shuttle. And if that doesn't work, then you have to pay for an extra shuttle on your own. And Sayulita is an hour and a half away from the Puerto Vallarta airport. So we're not talking like a $15 shuttle. We're talking like $150 shuttle that you have to add on top of everything. So for me, that definitely caused friction and stress. They are gonna lose points on that. Lastly, the thing that I'm gonna say is that the marketing says like how you're gonna get all these workshops, and that point is absolutely true. But I was stressed, right, going to this retreat. So I was kind of hoping I would get to chill, but the schedule is so packed that I had no downtime. I had no chill time. Like I had to stay in Sayulita afterwards to internalize everything because there was no time in the retreat. The schedule, like on those 3 days that you have, is from 8 to 8. Like you literally have appointments and things that you have to show up, and it's like to the minute and this and that, which is great because you want to get as much as you possibly can for your money, obviously, but also at the same time, I really don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. It was just odd to have like a bunch of stressed people on a really tight schedule, but at the same time, that's the only way they can make everything fit. So with all of that said and done, I still came up with a score, and I'm gonna give the marketing a 7 out of 10. Like, I'm gonna say 70% of what you see is true. It's definitely like not a scam. Again, I will give my final verdict at the end of the video, but there are definitely things that could be improved on, which is what I've mentioned. And if you have any other ideas or comments about that, leave them in the comment section. I'll be happy to read them. And this is just my opinion. And again, I'm hoping that my experience and sharing my experience will add value to yours. Maybe we don't all agree. I don't know, just me. Moving on. The type of people that go there. So I don't know if this is just my experience. I have not done like multiple retreats, but we were a group of 16 or 17 and I was the only Canadian. Everyone was American. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It just really surprised me. Like I feel like this is such an international subject, international retreat. I don't know what I expected, but I was the only Canadian. In terms of age, it really varied, which was super cool. The youngest were like 22 or 23, and we had people in their really late 60s that were there. It was a really diverse group, people from different ethnicity, which was really cool. And to no surprise, or I don't know, but there was more women than there was men. There was only 2 men in the retreat and everyone else were women. But yeah, that's the type of people that were there. Everyone that went there had their own issue, but I feel like everyone came with an open mind, a willingness to learn and grow and learn from all of the other participants. There was a really good vibe. It did take a little bit of time to kind of like break the ice and everything, but once that was done, it was all cool. And if you go there on your own, like please don't feel like you can't go there on your own. I would say that 60% of people were there like as solo travelers. There was one couple and then a couple of like pairs of friends, but other than that, everyone went there solo, and there's plenty of people that left with like new friends, which I thought was really cool. The workshops and an example of the schedule. So I actually have the real schedule that was given to me. and I'm gonna go through this with you. But basically on the first day, 3 p.m. is the check-in. Then you do a quick tour of the property, and then at 4:45, you start your first workshop. So there was a welcome and introduction workshop. There was an introduction to the nervous system, sympathetic dominance, and ventral vagus system. Then there was an introduction to HRV, which is heart rate variability. That's a hard word. I'm French, by the way. And mitochondrial. Then we had dinner, and then we had sympathetic dominance unwind. So that's from 3 to 8. Then on day 2, it's from 8:30 to 8. So there was movement for neural performance. That was like with like ropes, some special kind of ropes, and you kind of get into like a meditative state doing that. I really did enjoy it. We had breakfast, then we had introduction to meditation and neural feedback. Then we all have like individual activities. So I won't go through that, but it's basically like red light therapy, and then like this thing that shakes, and it's supposed to help like cleanse your lymph. We also had massages scheduled, which was such a nice surprise. So I will say major points for that. Like the massage was amazing. Then we had a guided beach walk. Then we had dinner, and then we had the TRE. So that's tension release exercise. I will say that I thought that this one was gonna be a game changer for me, and it absolutely wasn't. I felt nothing during that exercise. But what I did learn is that not everything is for everyone, and that they're just giving us tools that we can put in our toolbox, and you have to find the right tools that work for you. After that, the next day we had movement on the terrace, and that's where we learned how to do a work in versus a workout, which I thought was really interesting. We had nutritional workshop, we had a Q&A. Then we had the cold bath, which a lot of people were scared about, but everyone ended up doing it and loving it. Well, no, I'm not gonna say everyone loved it, but everyone ended up doing it, which was really brave. I really enjoy it. I know that I love cold bath, so that was cool. Then there was like more individual like appointment sessions, things like that. And then in the evening, we did the Temazcal. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you're in Mexico that you try that. It's a little hut that represents the mother's womb. And it's an ancient tradition that relies on all of the elements. So like the earth, the water, the wind, the fire. It's a whole ceremony. It's pitch black in there. You're sweating your butts off. And I definitely felt a lot of release there, let go of a lot of things, kind of went into a meditative trance. They were playing drums and ancestral like kind of music. I highly, highly recommend that one if you're ever in Mexico or anywhere that you find that. That one really stuck with me. Loved it. Then the next day, we did more meditation, and we did a like, I think it was 2 or 3 hour breathwork session. Changed my life. Breathwork changed my life, because up until then I liked the other experiences, but there was nothing that really was like that aha moment until I did the breathwork. If you've never done breathwork, this is my personal opinion, but I highly recommend you try. Oh my God, you're one breath away from another universe. Like, I might sound completely cuckoo here. Don't really care. The people that need to hear this will hear this. Do some breath work. Wow. I felt like I levitated. I felt like I went in another universe. It was amazing. And that was it for me. That was the reset. That was someone pressing reset on my nervous system, kind of like on a PlayStation, and like the bug like going away. That was the beginning for me. And unfortunately, that was literally the last full day. We did a hike, and then there was a closing share, and then the next morning was kind of like processing and checkout, like breakfast and checkout. So that's what the 5-day itinerary looks like. to give you an idea and the kind of workshops that are included in there. I remember when I was searching through the retreat that I kind of really wanted to get an idea of the type of workshops that were going to be done. So hopefully that gives you a really good idea. Oh, I almost forgot. I will give the workshops a 9 out of 10. The workshops were absolutely really professional, well made. Yes, the schedule is really tight, but it's to ensure that everyone gets to kind of try and do everything. Yeah, solid 9 out of 10 for that. The food. So if you've watched any of my other YouTube videos, I'm kind of obsessed with food. At this point, I'm questioning every single week if I should keep doing a travel channel or if I should just switch to food because I'm so freaking obsessed. And everywhere that I go, I talk about food. Anyways, the food. Okay, the food was no gluten, no corn, no dairy, anti-inflammatory. The food was insane. The food alone, I would say, and the chefs are worth the retreat. Like, holy moly. I don't think that 5 days is enough to really feel the effects of the food on your body. Or anyways, for me, I did not feel the effects of the food on my body for like 5 days, but it completely changed how I view food. The workshop about nutrition also really helped understand, and this might sound really basic to some people, but to me that was kind of like life-changing, how like food is fuel and I tie a lot of my food to my emotions. I'm definitely not eating enough proteins, and also like not to categorize food as good or bad. Like your body needs what it needs. Our bodies are constantly talking to us. I just think that we've not learned how to listen properly. So that was a really like key workshop for me, an indicator of how I can change my diet. The taste of everything, amazing. The fact that it's buffet style, that you can kind of make your plate and take as much or as little as you need, I thought was really amazing. And every day started with a fresh juice and a mix of everything. Like what I appreciated the most, I think, was how much variety, how much variety there was available, and how kind of like I'm not really creative, I think, with my food, because I didn't even miss sugar. There was no sugar also, by the way, so no like refined sugar or anything like that. I didn't miss my like sweet dessert every night. I didn't need it. I didn't even realize that there was no gluten, no corn. Like it was just so amazing, so delicious. The food, 10 out of 10. If I was a millionaire, the first thing I would do is hire that chef to cook for me every single day. The food alone is worth the retreat. If you're a foodie or if you're kind of scared that you're gonna struggle with food, I don't think you will. Like, there was a girl that was diabetic there, and like everyone enjoyed the food. Everyone found something that was perfect for them. Yes, this is the highest scored. Food, 10 out of 10. What did I learn from this retreat that changed my life forever? They gave us a little book. I did do a lot of journaling during the retreat, so I will read from this book. There's 8 points. I really can say that I am now like have internalized and I'm gonna keep forever. So the first thing, this might be really silly to some, but I guess I just needed a reminder of this, is that we're actually not built for today's world. And it felt so good to hear that and to normalize that, because sometimes I feel like the problem is me, you know, like, why am I not more productive? Why am I not going fast enough? Why can't I do more? And holy crap, I'm enough. We're enough. We're doing enough. We're actually not built for this. This isn't normal. This North America way of living and speed is not normal. So I hope whoever needs to hear this hears this. I definitely needed to hear that and to remember that. I needed to be reminded that my job is not open heart surgery on a dying person, and that I can chill and that things can wait. And it's okay. I'm doing my goddamn best. All right. So we've been trained and we've even been rewarded to not listen to our bodies and to push past our limits. Oh my God, that resonates so much with me again. Our bodies are constantly giving us signs, you know. But now I notice, now I know when to listen. When I'm driving, my jaw gets clenched. That's because I'm stressed. I'm stressed because there's noise, there's traffic, there's cars cutting me. I live near to Montreal, by the way. Drivers are crazy here. So obviously I'm really stressed. When I get into a meeting with someone that I know is gonna be like so, I can feel my palms getting sweaty. And like we're so used to just like pushing through, pushing, you know, it's normal, it's okay. Really, it's not. Honestly, we should listen more. We should regulate ourselves when we do feel the stress coming up. And also normalizing that this world is really fast and really crazy. And it's not us. Like, we are not the problem. Society is the problem. So that's the first thing that I was reminded of, but I have internalized and I know is going to follow me and helps me feel so much more at ease. 2, I absolutely need days where I will do nothing. And I think that 1 out of 10 is a good balance. So like I said, this retreat was a full-on reset for me, especially after the breath work. It's literally like someone went like, being like reset. And I can feel my nervous system like regulate and being so much better, and the things that felt like they were a mountain before kind of like come back to normal, and I can handle my emotions and problems and a lot of things better. Actually, I never want to get to that point again. I don't even know why I let myself get to that point in the first place. Well, the first thing is like I've pushed past my limit and I've not listened. I get hives attacks almost daily. I have migraines. I've had a cervical hernia. Like my body is speaking so freaking loud, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And now that I've had this kind of illumination, I just never want to go that deep again. So every 10 days, I'm going to give myself a mini boop, like reset, and just do absolutely nothing. Like everything can wait. There's nothing that important, and health is my priority. So I will do that from now on. Every 10 days, I'm doing all. 3, the work-ins instead of the workouts. If you don't know what a working in is, highly recommend you Google it, search it on YouTube. But basically doing a work-in is when you have low energy and it's actually giving you energy, like you're storing energy in your bank. And when you're doing a workout, that's when your body's like hype and you have all this energy to spend and you're depleting what's into your bank. So before the retreat and even listening, I would only do workouts. And I would never like replenish my bank. I would just deplete. I have to push. I have to be on a diet. I have to be stronger. I have to go to the gym. I have to da 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 da. And oh my God, like when do I ever charge, my batteries? So the work-in is something that I can proudly say I have implemented now in my routine. If I'm tired or if I know that like I'm gonna have my periods and things like that, and my body just needs to rest, instead of feeling guilty and doing nothing, I do work-ins. And I'm sure you can find some work-ins on YouTube. I found a couple, or I would do like a mobility workout or a stretch workout, and honestly it's game changing, and I feel that I'm being so much more respectful of my body and my limits. 4, very similar, but I'm gonna give myself a self-love treatment per month, and it has to be not tied to a task. So a wrap, a massage, a facial, but not something that's a necessity. Like I said, I had a cervical hernia, so I have to go to the chiro, but that's now became a task. Like it's not something that's just for me to relax, to give myself love and my body gratitude. It's work. So once a month, a treatment where I can just indulge and and remind myself that I'm divine and I love myself and I love my body and I deserve this. 5, I've learned that we actually process things after they've happened because it's a survival mechanism. And that was really weird for me because that's how I do process things. And I was always like, it's so weird. Like something will happen and then I kind of like don't react. And then 2 days later, I'll be like crying uncontrollably or like have rage or fear or whatever it is. And again, this is kind of like the first thing, knowing that that's normal and that it's actually a survival mechanism is so soothing and really changes my perspective on things. We're actually not meant to like process trauma as it's happening. When something really traumatic is happening to you, your body is in fight or flight, and all it wants to do is survive this situation. So it will do whatever it means to do to survive, cope, whatever. And after that, after you've regained like safety, that's when you process, and it's completely normal and acceptable. So I'm really happy that I did learn that and that I can now normalize this process for myself. 6 is to be my own bestie. I had a best friend that was like the love of my life. It's been the hardest breakup of my life, like harder than breaking up with any guy, any boyfriend. I think I'm still not over that. And I've kind of always been on the search for like another like bestie. But going to this retreat by myself, traveling to Sayulita on my own, like as a solo traveler and everything, really helped me realize how I have to be my own best friend. I have to talk to myself the way that I would talk to my best friend. And I have this voice in my head, I call her mean voice, because she can be really mean and really judgmental and harsh. But I would never talk to my best friend like that. So why am I talking to myself like that? And if my best friend was like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, this and that, I would tell her, hey, do a treatment once a month and treat yourself. Like, you know, do have days when you do not. I would tell her to do all these things. So I have to like not wait for someone else to tell me and to really just, yeah, be my own best friend. Do this like with myself on my own. I've really enjoyed my own company too. So I think I really am becoming my own best friend, and that's actually really cool to not have to rely on anyone else and to be able to sit with myself and do anything by myself and not have to wait for anyone else. Like if I want to take myself out to the restaurant, like I enjoy myself going alone, and that's totally fine. 7, the brain believes everything that you tell it. So speak to it the way that you would speak to, I wrote like the name of my niece. And again, that's also being like my own best friend. And I was referring to that to mean voice, which I'm vulnerably sharing with whoever is watching this video, because I think we all do have one. We all have that nasty voice that speaks in our head. That voice kind of overshadows everything else. And I don't want to let that happen anymore. I really want to talk to myself the way that I would talk lovingly to my 2-year-old niece that I absolutely adore. And I think she's perfect and divine. And I could never say anything mean or bad about her. That's how I need to see myself too. I'm trying to implement that one. And last but not least, I don't control everything. I guess even when I feel safe or don't, when I should sleep or not, and when I'm not in control or when or how I will let go. And that is a hardcore control issue. I've been reading a book about control, and I've realized that someone who is controlling, which I am, is actually tied to anxiety. It makes a lot of sense. So anxiety and control go hand in hand, and people who want to control everything are usually like highly anxious people, which I am. So I'm really trying to let go of things to understand that I don't control everything. I just don't. Like that's impossible. And by letting that go, it releases so much stress and anxiety. The fact that like there are things that I can't control actually feels good. Weirdly. I mean, I'm still working on that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not perfect. I still have moments of like, but at least now I know that that's my anxiety kicking in and that I can't control everything and that I just have to let go. I'd love if you guys could share if this resonates with you, how you feel about what I'm sharing, and if you're learning anything, if this is valuable to you or if it sounds completely cuckoo. If you're watching this video, I'd really appreciate you sharing as well. All right, well, last but not least, my final verdict: is the reposition, reset, retreat worth it? Guys, it is not fake. It is not a con. Overall, I think it is 100% worth it. Yes, there's a couple of things that could be worked on, or maybe it's just my perspective, but I have so much gratitude that I offered this gift to myself. I am so happy and proud that I took the initiative to do it. I would still be very much stuck in survival mode. And I'm gonna be, again, very open and vulnerable. I was very close to a burnout. There was really alarming signs that I was really not going in the right direction. And in 3.5 days, this retreat kind of did the impossible. So there's no way I cannot recommend it, even the minor little inconveniences of the shuttle or the bathroom not having a door. It's still 1,000,000% worth it. I think anyone that is feeling overwhelmed and with a lot of stress and with a dysregulated nervous system should highly consider this retreat. I will say that the 5 days is really short. If you can afford to do the 10 days, you should. As a matter of fact, I've loved this retreat so much that I am actually looking into doing the 10 days because I think that repetition is key to learning. And by doing it again and again, I would integrate all of the concepts a lot better. And also, like, the first time that you do something, you're not gonna internalize and kind of remember everything. So maybe not like this year, but definitely if it's still around like next year or something like that, I would even prioritize that over like a yoga or a surf retreat, because I feel like working on my personal development is way more important than just doing yoga. And understanding my nervous system and my body and the food that I put in my body, it is and should be a priority. It is for me anyways. So if you're hesitant, if you're not certain, again, this is not sponsored, just my personal opinion, but it was, without the shadow of a doubt, needed and a beautiful experience that I would recommend to absolutely everyone. I think they did a fantastic job for this retreat. I think that the prices might go higher. So if you can book it now while it's still kind of affordable, I'd highly, highly, highly recommend you do. If you have any questions or want my honest opinion about anything, ask them in the comment. I'll be more than happy to answer. And I know that it's a big investment and there's a lot of cons and fake things out there, so it can be really nerve-wracking. But speaking from someone who's done it, it's legit. And everyone from the group left there feeling uplifted and with more tools in their boxes and had answers to some of the questions that they came looking for. Thanks again so much for watching. Again, I hope that YouTube sends this to the right people. I think that we live in a hustle culture and stress culture, and there's a lot of people that would benefit from doing this retreat and hearing about other people's experiences, so that they're a bit more convinced to do it. So if you think of someone or know someone that you think would really, really need this, share this video, send it to them, or share with them the information about the retreat itself, so that they can do more research and find solutions that will work for them and help them reset. I know that I'm extremely happy I did it. So I'll see you guys next week, and thanks again so much for watching. Bye.